What is up, Cowboys Nation? Your boy Mike Tag here with my man Greg. Early morning. Actually, we made it a little bit later because my daughter's birthday today. So went out last night. Probably had a few too many, so I had to sleep in. I had a feeling I was going to need to sleep in that extra hour. So I want to say happy birthday to my daughter. I can't. You know how it is, Greg. I got no minors in the house now. They're all 18 and older. Everyone's an adult now. So time flies, but it was crazy. She started out copying my little hype videos, when she was probably 13 or whatever it was, 12, 13. And now all of a sudden she's all grown up. So time goes by. Just got to enjoy them moments. All right.
Yeah. What's her name?
Eva.
Happy birthday, Eva.
We get her. She promised she'll do it. Yeah. And you and I didn't hook up till later, but she used to do the hype videos with me, and then she would copy them and she redid them in her room and stuff like that. So, but once she got like 16, it wasn't cool anymore. So so I begged. I said, "Look, one last time, we're going to do one more because the Cowboys Nations love they love it." And
that's cool.
So
that's cool.
Anyway, but we got work to do. I see we got the chat is hopping. Appreciate it, Christopher, Chuck. Of course, Cuts, Vince, Jeff, everybody coming in, Steven, and happy birthday to your son as well. I believe his birthday is today, if my memory is correct. Vince, Larry, everybody, Rick, all you guys hanging out and just strolling into the cave. Definitely appreciate the love. We got a big game today, so we got to get in our mode. The Cowboys won two road games, something that is usually pretty hard to do, but they won two road games. The problem they're having is they can't win at home. So what's your kind of snap instant, thoughts on this game, Cowboys Lions? What do you say, Greg? What do you guys
It's going to be a close game. I think last week we proved that we're ready to come out and fight and take it to the end. And we needed that for motivation, inspiration going into this game. Because I think if we'd have lost last week, I think some of the guys would have been down on themselves thinking, okay, we're not going to step up for the challenge. But the way we won, the way we played, the way we came back, and the way our defense played, the way our backups played on defensive line, it showed that we're getting it. And these guys feeling confident that we can come in here and play these lines and come out with a win. It's going to be a close game, but I feel better, much better with our defense and their concern to kind of slow the run down. Because you're not going to stop Jamar Gibbs and the other running back, but the way we can slow them down and the way our offense can come out on all cylinders, I think it's going to be a good day for the Cowboys.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I think it's definitely, let's just be honest. They got their work cut out.
Yes,
sir. The Lions are a formidable team. They're, one of the top teams in the AFC. They've got that offense that, it's going to be hard to stop. I mean, Jared Goff just was 18 for 18, I think, last week. Didn't have one incomplete. And the thing with Goff is he's not flashy, but he's just very efficient and very effective. And if you do not get a good pass rush, it's going to be a lot of problems. So, we're asking that next man up mentality again with these Cowboys. And, you hate to keep going back to the well, but it's, they just need to hold it just one more week. And then I think, you're going to get Bland back. You're going to get Parsons back. You're going to, Kendricks is out. We'll talk a little bit about some of the injuries, but he's out today. You're going to get some of these guys healthy. And, now you come off the bye and you're playing San Francisco and you got about a 4-game stretch of some pretty tough games that you'd love to be healthy and get rolling. So this game, why I say it's not must win, it's not must win. I mean, it isn't doom and gloom if they slip up here. It would do so much for their confidence and so much just for their mindset if they can get eke out, tough out, whatever way you want to put it, a victory this afternoon at home. I mean, geez, you got to win at home sometime.
Yeah, at least hopefully this is the first one of the season that we win at home. Yeah, and I feel real good about our backup defensive players. And if we get this win and we rest. And we get to bring the starters back, at least we know that the depth chart is deep and they're dedicated and these guys can play. And to be honest with you, it wouldn't hurt me a bit if the backup players became starters even when we come out the bye and they mix them because these guys on that line were impressive. Now, we have to We must put pressure on Goff. When you put pressure on Goff, that's when he makes mistakes. If we don't put pressure on Goff, it's bad enough that their running game is a beast because it's kind of hard for us to stop the run, even though we did a decent job against the Steelers. Steelers didn't have primary running backs. However, we still did a good job. But we can't have the combination of the running game running down our throat and Goff getting all the time in the world. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Pressure on Goff. And if our offense puts up points, because Detroit's defensive backs can be exploited. Easily.
Oh, yeah.
Can be exploited. And that's why this could possibly be a high-scoring game on both sides of the field. But if we put pressure on Goff, we could probably keep ourselves about a 10-point lead throughout the game to try to secure it in the fourth quarter. It just depends on his pressure. And if Dak gets that offense started and we just start blazing saddles on that defense.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. I think that the key is going to come down to the offense. But, I mean, looking at the injury report, I mean, it looks like Kendricks obviously is out. Bland is a no-go, which I didn't think he was going to. I figured they were going to wait another week. You know, Parsons is out. You didn't think he was going to be there. It looks like Guyton's going to be in there. So the offensive line, which could give you a little question of, man, the offensive line looked kind of good with Tyler Smith at left tackle and Bass at guard. Maybe, Steele has been struggling. Do you move Guyton? I think you're kind of too far in the mix where I just don't think they're going to do anything like that right now. But get Guyton back. I mean, he's played. I mean, they showed a stat of him and like Tyler Smith in their first like 5 games. It was very similar numbers, very similar, with the penalties and things like that. I mean, we all said that the offensive line, it's going to be a work in progress, but they're going to get better as the season goes on. And I firmly believe that. I think BB, I think Guyton, you got Smith, you got a young offensive line. I mean, they just totally changed the offensive line. They're going to get better. So you just gotta take the lumps and hope they're not critical. But one of the other things I saw in the chat, and there's no doubt about it, are the penalties. The penalties have just got these pre-snap penalties. They just got to stop. I mean, they have got to be more disciplined, and they can't extend drives on penalties. They can't hurt themselves on penalties because this is a team. I mean, the Lions they're a formidable team. You're not, Pittsburgh was good, but I mean, we all felt we were better. We had a better matchup against them, player for player. With our injuries, I mean, hey, don't kill me, but Detroit on paper is a better team right now. If you stack up the players, I think they're a better team right now than the Cowboys. Yeah,
Detroit is. And if you look at it all the way around, you would rather have a Detroit team coming into this game than a Dallas Cowboy team. And if you're Detroit Lion, you feel real good about this game because the odds are stacked for you. However, you're playing in Dallas. We need a home win. And this is the big game before the bye. I feel like guys are going to lay it all out on the line because they know after this they get a much-needed rest. Yeah. Guyton held his own against Pittsburgh. He did a good job. But when he got hurt, the next man up just filled the gap. So it's not as though Guyton wasn't doing his job against Pittsburgh. He was doing it. The great thing was the next man up just filled the plug. And he did a great job and continued doing what he needed to do on offensive line. That worked well.
Yeah.
I just really expect our offense to be creative and light their ass up because there's no way against Detroit you win by scoring 10, 15 points. We got to light them up. In spite of our defense and what they do, we know what Detroit's bringing. They're bringing a hell of a running game. They're bringing a hell of a passing game. They got the receivers. They got a defensive lineman in Hutchinson. And they got it all right now. That's why we have to put up points. It's got to be like ping pong, pound, bam, back and forth, back and forth. And if we do that on the offense, we're going to be fine. The defense is not even though I hope our defense steps up, I'm not conceding, but it's almost as though I'm saying Detroit's going to get theirs.
Yeah.
We have to get ours on the offense. And if we do that, we'll be in good shape.
Yeah. It's going to be on Dak's shoulders. I hate to say it is. And I would say this, and I love Ultra, but yeah, Ultra, you got to be careful with what you say. Formidable teams don't give up 516 yards. I mean, they dropped 42 on Seattle. But then remember that same intensity when you say Dak has garbage stats, because Dak's numbers get huge and they say, well, he did garbage. I mean, the Lions were beating the hell out of Seattle, so pump the brakes on that. Detroit is a good, really good football team. I'm not going to shortchange them, and I ain't going to underestimate them at all.
No.
And it's going to come down to our offense. I mean, their defense can get scored upon. Their secondary is young. Their secondary kid. So Dak and CD, Tolbert, Ferguson, that crew had better be on their game. We saw a little bit of our running game. You kind of saw what Rico was able to do, was able to be effective. He wasn't, there wasn't Emmitt Smith running out there. I mean,
right.
But we don't need Emmitt Smith. We just need someone, we need someone to just 4 yards in a cloud of dust, wear him down. I'd like to see maybe Zeke a little bit more in some of the short yardage and goal line situations. I would like to see Zeke in there more because I trust him with the ball in those situations more. That's just me. But, it's going to be on this offense to do it. And, like you said, the defense, this is going to be, trying to think who'd they play. No, I'd say Raven. This is going to be one of their bigger tests on their run defense of the season. Ravens were the big test. They failed that one miserably. But I would say this team, their mindsets change a little bit. You see they're learning the Zimmer scheme and the defense better, because if you look 2.5 games now, this defense, and especially the run defense, has been solid. It's been more than solid, probably, if you really look at the numbers. So, but they're going to get tested. Gibbs is fast. And, they're averaging, I'll pull this up real quick. Let me see if I've got it. Just some of the tail of the tape for these guys. And let's see. And let me just do this. And you look at just focus on the defense. Our run defense, remember, there was a time our run defense was almost like 6 yards a carry. We're down as a defense giving up 4.4. That's the same as the Lions. We've moved into the middle of the pack. So that just shows what our run defense has been doing. Everything else, if you look at the defense, our numbers compared to them, it's pretty much the same. But I would say if you look at us, we've gotten better. A lot of inflated stats early on when the defense was just getting annihilated. They've definitely locked it down the last 2.5, games, right?
Yeah. And another good thing, I'll say this all season long. It's not a secret weapon anymore, but that extra spice that we have in our favor is Brandon Aubrey. Brandon Aubrey is an all-star. Brandon Aubrey is MVP. He is the game changer for the Dallas Cowboys. And if it comes down to it, each drive, Brandon Aubrey kicks those field goals and we stop the Lions on every other drive or a couple of drives, it may make the difference. So I'm confident in that kicking game. And I'm confident in the fact that if our offense gets started quick and they feel real confident that we can go ahead and pull this. Ultra, you need an Ultra, because Ultra is going to always be there to be the pessimist about the Cowboys. And
he's being optimistic today, though. He's being optimistic.
But Ultra would never have anything to say about our wins, because when we win, we win. And regardless of who we play, you can't use the excuse, well, you played the Giants, you played the Steelers. No, we played the next man up, we played the next team up on the schedule, so we won. So I like that, because
and I would say this: there's not a Cowboy fan alive that didn't trash when the Cowboys signed Aubrey. Maybe you weren't, because you've seen him play, in the USFL with Birmingham. I already issued my apology. I was dead wrong. I was concerned with the kicking game last year going in, and, it was definitely, my bad. And I apologize for that. And I think 99.999% of the Cowboy fans were like, what the hell are they doing bringing in a kicker? He never kicked in college. He kicked for the USFL. And we have kicking problems, because remember, we were having all those issues in training camp with the kickers, and we had all of these problems. So, hey, I'm one of all of us, except for maybe you, Greg. You stand by that. You were happy with Aubrey when they got him.
Yeah, I was, like I said, I used to go to Birmingham because my family lives in Birmingham. And then when my dad left the military, we went to Birmingham. So I just grew up in Birmingham till I went in the Air Force. But I saw the Birmingham Stallions, and I was going to their games. And I saw Brandon Aubrey the year before Dallas picked him up. And I'll be at the games, and I used to tell my brother, I said, man, woo, we need somebody like this guy right here. This guy's a game changer. And sure enough, the next season, off season, I find out we pick up Brandon Aubrey. I'm like, I can't believe this, man. I can't believe this. We get Turpin a year ago. We get Turpin. And I used to watch all those games, and Turpin was lighting up the USFL. He was the MVP. And then we turn around and get Brandon Aubrey. I was like, ooh, man, Jerry and him must be watching the USFL. So I was very familiar with Brandon Aubrey because I loved the way he played with Birmingham. And he was a game changer for Birmingham in that championship season. When we picked him up, I knew we had a winner. So everybody else didn't know who he was. I already knew, and he's a game changer.
Wow. Mark is saying, "Don't ever mention you were in the Air Force." So,
oh man, come on now. Hey, all our services pulled together as a unit to go ahead and do what we need to do to defend this nation, to keep people free. However, the Air Force are the smarter guys. Remember, we're the smarter guys, more intellect. We don't do it harder; we do it smarter.
What's Frank from Germany, checking it out, getting ready for this game. But yeah, but what getting back to Aubrey, what they can't do, and it goes without saying.
Yeah.
We can't settle for field goals. We need to score touchdowns. Like when we get in that, get in that red zone, we have got to put it away. And like I said, this secondary of the Lions, they give up big plays. This could be the CeeDee Lamb kind of explosion game. You could really get CeeDee Lamb to let loose. So that's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting, like you said, maybe it's a high scoring game, maybe it's one of those kind of funky games, but for the Cowboys to win, they can't. Three things. Can't settle for field goals when you're inside the 20. You got to put those away. Can't have all the penalties.
Right.
And and I'm not going to say stop the run. I'm going to say contain the run.
Yeah.
Just don't let them run wild on you. They're going to get a couple runs, but just don't let them, Gibbs get those big breakout runs. Just kind of hold them to third and long every now and then to help with the, minimize, them being able to get third and short conversions. Kind of make them earn their way down the field. If they can do that, that's pretty basic. So it probably goes for every team. So I'm not saying nothing that nobody already, feels or figures out. But that's what they've got to do. They've just got to hold the fort down on defense.
Yeah, they can't exploit us like the Saints and the Ravens did on the running game, because that was just downright nasty, despicable. It was painstaking. We can't have that. But Dallas is. I think they got slapped in the face the first time, and they was like, was that a slap? Oh, maybe it happened. Second time, they got the foot up in the ass. Then they realized, you know what? We better wake up. And that game in the Steelers, I'm telling you, I think that was the turnaround, because it took it down to the last minute, the last play of the game, and the way they pulled it out together. And if you saw them before the game, like I said, the unity that I saw in that team and how they looked confident, how they looked like they were there to play ball. From this point forward, I think we're going to see the best of the Cowboys. Now, granted, we need our starters. We got a lot of people injured. And even though we have a lot of people injured, at this point, we're able to maintain and win some games. It's like that Cooper Rush syndrome. When Dak goes down, Cooper's not going to lose the game for you. Cooper's going to manage it, but he's going to manage to win enough games to keep us where we need to until Dak comes back. The team is doing that right now until all our starters come back. So hopefully we can pull this one out and go into the bye week, rest, and then come back and get a few players back, because we getting these guys off the practice squad who are hungry. They want to prove themselves. They're trying to make that 53-man roster, so they want to get on there. And even with Kendricks down, I think Darius Harris is going to be playing for him today. We stopped the run on Pittsburgh because I noticed how the guys sucked to the line real quick when the running back was coming out, almost like I said, piranhas, where in the games that we lost, the guys were just sitting back there waiting for him to run through them. They're hungry. They're hungry. They're ready. They want a job. They want a permanent job. And I think these guys are going to prove it today. It is going to be electric at AT&T today. Fan base, players, because everybody knows next week is a bye week, and they want to go into that bye week with a win.
Yeah, no doubt. I had a little issue there for a second. So I heard you though. No, I think they definitely, they want to get in that bye week with a win. The fans are going to be a little bit antsy. They're going to be a little antsy because of what they've seen so far. Hey, I just got to do something real quick. I'm having a little technical issue. I'm going to let you run the show for 2 seconds and I'll jump back in.
Yeah. So in the chat, what do you think is the most important, and I mean the most important aspect that the Cowboys need to pay attention of on the Lions today? Somebody let me know. What do you see? I see somebody, Blake, saying, I think Ferg has a solid game. Yeah, Ferg is probably going to have his normal, typical solid game because that's what he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm back. All right. Sorry. But yeah, I heard you talking.
Somebody mentioned Jay Lou going to have a big game. Jordan Lewis highly impressed me last week. That guy, to be of his stature, as quick as he is and as fast as he gets to the play, and how he sticks to the receivers going out and doesn't take smack from anybody.
No, he never has.
If anybody right now that I say right now is the leading voice, is the most inspirational on our defense right now, I would say Jay Lou. Jay Lou had an attitude last week like, I ain't taking no damn prisoners. I don't care where we at playing. I'm going to put it in your face, and I'm going to let you know after each play, and mess with me if you want to. I'm coming back at you. I think every player on the team saw that. To me, he was that most valuable defensive player last week. He was the one that stood out as the leader.
Yeah, and I'm almost positive. Again, I'm going off memory, but I believe him and Dez got into it like his rookie year when Jay Lou was a rookie. I think him and Dez got into it at practice one time and got in a tussle. He don't back down from anybody, and he's been one of those key guys on the defense. You talk about those, not the superstar of the team, but those young guys that you need, not young guys, but those veteran guys that you need, that B list that we talked about. Like, yeah, you had Charles Haley, but Tony Tolbert he was really the engine of that defensive line. He got a lot of sacks, but Haley created the ruckus, but Tolbert was there to make sure he cleaned it up, to make sure that they could double Haley, but you do that, you're going to pay. And I think that's what Jay Lou does. He's always has a knack to be around the ball. He's always, if there's a fumble, I guarantee you're going to see number 2 somewhere around there, if there is. And I think he's really elevated to be one of the leaders on this defense. And, we talked about the injuries. And the thing I would say is, you said Cooper Rush earlier, and it always sticks in my mind because a lot of people come back and say, well, man, we went 4-1 with Cooper Rush. And if you really look, Cooper Rush didn't play great.
No,
he didn't turn the ball over, which was good. But everyone elevated their game around. They rallied around. So that's what you're seeing, like with Parsons out. I've heard people say, "Oh man, maybe the defense is better without Parsons." No, don't be crazy. Yeah. But what you got is guys that are elevating their game because they feel like, hey, we got to pick up the slack, or either our best guys out. We got to elevate our game to make up for those losses. And I think that's what you're seeing. And when you do that, you're building that team camaraderie. Then everyone knows, all right, man, I can rely on you. I can count on you. I can count on this guy. If you're going 4 deep, like you said, you look at those great football teams. I'm not going to go back to the 90s. That way you guys can always say I go back to the 90s. Just look at any of the teams just in recent history. It's usually a wave of defensive linemen. There's depth there, and you kind of rotate them in and out. And I think that's what you're seeing, like you said, with some of these guys stepping up. As the season goes on, you can count on them. And you're going to start, you can have fresh guys in. You don't have to wear, Parsons or wear Tank or wear Osa. You got guys that can step up and be able to jump in and not miss a beat. That's what I think you're seeing from this team. So I tell people, man, the adversity the team is facing this first part of the season is going to pay dividends down the road if they can get back to being healthy, of course.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to pay off.
And I think the coaches recognized in last week's game, these guys that got to step up, they're looking at them like, okay, we got to put these guys in. The starters are gone. Oh, my goodness. And they saw them, and I think their eyes went open like, wait a minute. Look what we got. Damn, these guys are really playing well. They're stepping up. Damn, these guys are playing damn good. And see, I think the coaches noticed that, and the coaches realized, well, hell, now I can put this guy in on third downs, or I can bring this guy in if it looks like the running game is coming through the holes on us. Shit, we got some hell of backups in here. And a lot of times the coaches they know they got good players. They don't know how well they are until they put them in under pressure. Not put them in as coming in on third down or coming in on this play where they go in and come out. I'm talking about putting them in under pressure where they can't look behind them and the starter's coming back in the game because the starter's out. And these guys stepped up. And that defense, I'm telling you, our defense looks better. It's really hard for me to gauge just how well our defense is because, after all, we did play offense that was efficient in the games they played in, but it wasn't outstanding. It wasn't one of those offenses like, oh, you got to look out for the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. So it was almost like playing against our offense in the first two games. So I can't really gauge how well those backups are going forward, if they can still be lights out. But they did their job, and that's all I expect. Get that lunch bucket and do your job.
Yeah.
So let's go in there today and let's put that stadium on fire, like Air Coryell. And I want to see Flournoy in the mix because the Lions don't know him, and I don't know if the Lions will be a double team him. Bring him in the mix as well because the receivers we got are great, but exploit them with Flournoy and damn sure give Turpin a few more plays.
Yeah, no, I think you spread them out and you attack that secondary all day. I mean, that's what I would do. Again, if our running game is effective, then definitely do the run game. But if the running game isn't clicking the way they want, throw 4 wide in there and just spread them out and eat them up. Yeah. I think that they're going to have to attack. Cowboys offense have just got to be in attack mode. They can't be conservative. I think if you can jump on them, it takes the run out, right? You kind of their big strength is their run. You get that out, and it just makes it a better opportunity for the Cowboys, especially for their defense. But I'm with you, man. I'm attack all day, and I just got to say, I threw out a little bait last night, little chum in the water, and my guys just ate it up. I even got my man George Teague to eat it up. I put the SEC is overrated. My Canes would smoke any of them. And I do believe that for the most of the SEC teams. Now, Texas is good. Unfortunately, being a Cowboys fan, I get a lot of Texas fans too in my mix. So they got offended. And there was no, Texas is good. That would be a good game and a nice victory for McCain's, but we will smoke any of those other teams. And I stand by that. I stand by it. And, people can hate on it all they want, but I stand by it. Texas, the SEC is overrated in my opinion. They always get all the glory and all this and that. And they're a bunch of average teams. So it looks good because they beat up on each other. Like, oh, well, Vandy's got to be good. They beat Alabama, or maybe Alabama's not that good. Maybe Vandy sucks. And then, we beat the crap out of Florida, and everyone's like, oh, well, Florida sucks. We beat it in their crib. And then Florida goes up to Tennessee, the top 10 team in the, ranked. And Florida should have won that game. If their coach had any balls, he would have went for 2 and would have went for the win instead of going to overtime. So SEC is a bunch of average teams, except for Texas. So you guys calm down attacking me on Twitter.
Well, I tell you, speaking of that college football, and I just make it brief, it's going to be hard for anybody to stop Oregon with that speed.
Yeah,
Oregon has speed that is unremarkable. I mean, it is. I I saw Ohio State. Ohio State is a methodical, strategic team. They're not blazing speed, but they're strategic. But Oregon was just running over these guys and threw them like lightning.
Yeah.
And speaking of running, our running game, if Dowdle performs like he did last week and Lipke,
yeah,
we're going to be in great shape. Now, I was kind of surprised that I didn't see Zeke as often as I expected. I know they brought Zeke back. I hope they didn't bring Zeke back just to put another running back there so we didn't have to go out there and get somebody. But I think we need to give Zeke some more opportunities because Zeke wants to play. And I think Zeke had a discussion with the running back coach this week as to, what's going on. Are y'all going to put me in the mix a little bit more? And why aren't I in the mix more often? And I don't know how they addressed it, but they do need to put him in the mix. Dowdle carried the load, but Dowdle can't do it by himself. So we need Zeke.
But I like to have the horse. I want to get back to it, but I can't help myself, Greg, because when people in the comment going after me, I got to be able to respond. Let me just say it one more time. It would be a good victory for the Canes, for my Canes. Who the heck? You guys, you talk about Cal. Miami went there had to fly 5,000 miles. They made us play at 10 o'clock at night. They had us 35-10. We still came back and we beat their ass in the fourth quarter when it mattered most. That's a team. You guys play UTSA. You guys play the church, the School of the Blind. Texas hasn't played shit. Don't even bring up Michigan because Michigan is trash.
Oh,
absolute trash. I had some Texas fans say, well, we beat the defending national champions last year. Well, remember that when we stopped Florida State in the ground when I tell you that we beat the undefeated team that got screwed out of the playoffs. You remember that. So let me just tell you this. The last time we played, now you can only go off the last time. That's all we can do. We beat Texas so bad in the Cotton Bowl, so bad that they refused to play us ever again. We had more penalty yards than they had yards gained, total yards gained. So you guys, bring them horns, you bring all that shit. We will beat your ass. Yeah, you'll score 50, we'll score 52, and we win.
And those were celebration penalties. Sportsmanlike conduct penalties for dancing in their face.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to see Zeke in there. I'm still puzzled as to why we haven't brought up Dalvin Cook. I mean, is there not room on the roster?
Look, there's something we're fake. There's got to be something. I mean, we're not. I mean, there's got to be more that we don't know. That's what
they're not even mentioning him.
Gotta be.
He's not mentioned in any reports, any talks, or nothing. And I'm telling you, right now before the bye would be a good time to bring him in. And I just don't get it.
And you know what I don't get either? I don't get that Alabama barely hung on. Don't look at the score. Alabama barely hung on against USF. We beat them into the ground. Like we stomped a mud hole in them in their own crib. They had the most seats sold by their student body. They ran their mouth in Tampa. I don't know if you heard it all the way up in the Panhandle. I live in Tampa. These guys telling me how they're going to beat it. We stomped a mud hole in them, and they had Alabama on the ropes. Overrated SEC. I'll say it again. I'll tell it to you every single time I see any of you guys. Overrated.
All Bama fans are biting their nails every time they watch Bama play this year. It ain't like the old Roll Tide where they sit there and say, "Oh, we're gonna win." They're biting their nails, and they know if Bama makes the playoffs, they're one and done because Bama's not, and Bama's program is going downhill after this.
No, absolutely. And I love all the, everyone wants to bring up the past. Oh, well, Miami hasn't won anything, won a national championship since 2001. Well, you guys are the same Cowboy fans that keep telling the Eagles 5 is better than 1.
Oh,
well, we got 5. The Canes got 5. Probably should have 7. We got screwed. The officials screwed us out of a couple, and the BCS screwed us out of 1. So we probably should have like 8 national championships, but
they didn't like the swag we had back in the day. That's why they didn't put us in that national championship that they should have put us in, and we would have blew the lights out. And then the guy goes home.
I remember us beating the shit out of Alabama to win a national title too. So it works both ways. It works both ways. We beat, maybe it might not have been the national. I think that's when we got screwed. But we beat the hell out of them in the Sugar Bowl the year before. So calm down. You ain't talking to some amateur. So anyway. But you know how it is, Greg. They ain't gonna steal our fun. I mean,
but you know what's so great about it? Both the Cowboys and the Canes have 5 championships. Both the Cowboys and the Canes have 5 championships.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah,
it's nice to and who won the national title last year? Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan. But Michigan's depleted.
When did Texas win their last national title? I don't even follow them. The only one I know is Vince Young.
Oh, I don't know. They got blown out. I think when Bama played them one year and the quarterback got hurt, and it wouldn't have made a difference if he didn't get hurt anyway.
Yeah. I don't know their national titles. Was it 2000? Yeah. Was that the Vince Young year, 2007?
I think that was the last one. That's the last one I remember. Yeah.
Man, this son of a bitch ultra's gonna sit there and talk about we won one in 2001. They won one in 2007 or whatever, or 05. Oh, they won on 4 years later. Give me a break.
Texas still hasn't proven themselves yet. You know,
Texas can't get it done. They haven't proven themselves yet. They'll choke. What do you think, Greg? You think they're going to choke? I think they will.
Yeah. All I know is if they got to go through Oregon, Texas, you may as well get them Longhorns and start to get a foul and foul them down, because Oregon ain't going to let the Texans score any points like they did in these other games they're playing against these whimsical teams.
Yeah.
And Oklahoma, I knew Oklahoma wasn't going to beat them. I didn't give a damn what Oklahoma did. I knew they weren't going to beat them because Oklahoma's record it's an illusion. Oklahoma is straight trash.
They'll have 4 or 5 losses by the end of the season. Michigan's going to have 5 losses at the end of the year. So, I mean, real. That's why I say in college football, I know we're getting sidetracked from the Cowboys, but I love college too, as you can tell, is they shouldn't have preseason rankings.
No, they shouldn't.
I know they do it for the attention, so I get it.
In the media coverage.
Yeah, I mean, anyone with 20/80 vision could see Michigan's trash this year. They're not very good.
Yeah,
it's going to be a rough road. Penn State's going to beat them. Ohio State's going to beat them. I don't know who else they play, but any decent team, if they haven't beaten them already, they're going to beat them.
Yeah.
So that's not if I'm Texas, that's not a win that I'm holding up high and being proud of. Go beat Georgia. I think they got Georgia this week, right? I think they got Georgia. That'd be a tremendous victory if they beat Georgia. You'll almost shut me up. Almost shut me up. But let's look at the defense. You know, the run defense is going to get tested. We talked a little bit about it, but let's just really get it. Gibbs, he reminds me like Kamara in a way. I mean, big play, fast. We've had trouble with that, right? We've had a little bit of trouble with that so far this season. But again, later, our run defense has been better. Montgomery he's just kind of, he's consistent. He's just a consistent running back. Do you think we could shut him down? Could we contain him? Or do you think we're not going to stop him, so we better score?
We're not going to shut him down. These are 2 of the most prolific running backs in the league right now. Jameer, if you give him, as Gail Sayers says, give me 16 inches of daylight or 12 inches, Jameer would juke on you and break your ankles. Montgomery's not going to juke that much, but Montgomery gets through the hole. You got to wrap him up. And if you don't wrap him up, he's going to break through and get additional yards. What we got to do is we got to punch them in the mouth when they come through that hole to let them know you're not going to establish the running game on us like the Ravens and like the Saints. That's not happening. You're going to have an average running game where you're not going to be able to count on your running game to win this game, because the Lions are going to do that. Everybody knows when you play the Cowboys, the very first thing you need to do is run. If you can establish the run on the Cowboys, you're going to have an easy day. And Goff would like nothing better than to hand that ball off a lot and only throw the ball when he needs to. So our defense needs to step in there, plug those holes, wrap them up. Don't let them get those extra yards from breaking a tackle. and punch in the mouth and let them know it's going to be a long day for the running back. So you're going to earn your yards against us today. And then the offense needs to turn around on the sideline and be ready. Okay, guys, when we go in, we're going down every drive and scoring. We got to be better in that red zone. It's been a problem for us all season. This has got to be the game where we break the red zone curse. We have to, because if we keep getting, if you think about it, look at all these games we played. Every time we were in the red zone, it wasn't even 50-50. It was 60-40 that we weren't going to score a touchdown. We need to break that curse in the red zone. It's not a problem getting down there. It's a problem getting in the end zone. And if we do that today, it's going to be a good day. But that red zone, which is underrated as far as people looking at one of our deficiencies, our red zone offense is deplorable. We got to score touchdowns on that red zone offense, because otherwise it's just those field goals aren't going to make it, and we can't rely on field goals. And then the last thing on that is turnovers. We may not get many interceptions. Now, Goff may throw one, possibly two, maybe somebody block one, but fumbles, we got to be punching. We got to punch, especially on Jameer and Montgomery. Try to punch that ball out, because we get a few fumble recoveries that can make the difference.
Oh, be huge. I mean, turnovers usually decide the game, except against Pittsburgh. Right? We turn the ball over a bunch, and we end up still winning, which is a testament to Dak. And I'd say, not looking back, but probably most of us were just 10 seconds, whatever was left in the game, away from Dak was going to get annihilated in the media and by Cowboy fans, for the gameplay. But at the end of the day, what matters is, right, no one cares what happens for all the game. They just want the results. And he took that team in that 70-yard drive and went right down the field. And people forget that fumble that Rico had. I mean, Dak saved it. I mean,
he sure did.
He dove on that ball, and if he didn't, the game was over, and he would have got annihilated in the media, and rightfully so. I mean, some of that interception was bad, the fumble was bad, but what I loved about it is the perseverance of just keep going, keep grinding, and they did it. So I think Dak, that was kind of that signature kind of moment for him, and you hope he can build on that. The offense can build on that confidence, because we really haven't seen this offense explode.
No, we haven't.
I mean, it's just been very, kind of has its moments, but it just, remember last year, it was like, bam, man, they dropped 40, bam, they dropped 50, and just nonstop. Maybe this is the game with that offense, because they should be able to throw the ball pretty good on this defense, is maybe this is the game the offense kind of gets all wheels going in the same direction.
Yeah, I hope so. And Tolbert, I got to give him a whole hell of a lot of credit. Tolbert stepped up, and he proved that he is that third wide receiver. He proved that he is that starting wide receiver, because the cornerback, despite the fact of Tolbert having that option on that play that broke up the first part and he came across, that cornerback was on him. And when Tolbert caught that ball, that corner did everything he could to try to knock it out of his hand. And Tolbert squeezed that ball so hard because the way he held it, it could have easily been punched out. And then when he hit the ground, it could have easily came out. So Tolbert, not only did he do his job, he knew how catastrophic it would have been if he dropped that ball. And Dak threw it in the window, I'd say maybe a fraction of an inch shorter than it should have been for Tolbert to catch it. He should have been out here, but he got it. And when Tolbert got it, he squeezed it so hard, he made sure that the ground wasn't going to make it come out and the corner wasn't going to knock it out. So I have all the confidence in Tolbert. And that's why with Tolbert out there as that third wide receiver, Dak doesn't always have to use Lamb as the default, because everybody knows in all our games thus far, Dak has been going, he is overly throwing the ball to CD, and that can cause some vulnerable interceptions. Mix it up. Make them think CD's going to be the primary receiver and throw the ball to Tolbert, throw it to Turpin. Turpin outran his coverage on that play that he had in Pittsburgh. He outran that coverage, and I always knew that he can always outrun anybody. And it was a beautiful pass and a beautiful catch. But we got to do that more, because if not, you're looking for the same receiver all the time. It's almost like every time Dak gets ready to throw the ball, oh, he's going to CD. He's going to CD. And cut that mess out about bringing CD around the edge on the reverse or putting him in the backfield. It ain't working. Not one time did it work this season. If you're going to do that, let Turpin be the one. He's got the speed to cover it.
Yeah. So no, I like it as a gimmick play now and then. I just don't want him to go to the well too much, with it. And, definitely they got to be careful with it. Hey, we're going to transition a little bit to the NFC East, state of the NFC East. Got to get your guys' opinion on where things are at. You've got 5 games, in the books. We're getting, a third of the way through the schedule almost. After today, it will be. Definitely get your opinions on that. But want to give a quick shout out to one of our partners. They've been a very great sponsor. They're doing a lot of things over at the Autograph app. They've got a Dak Prescott framed jersey that they're going to be giving away in January, so you can build everything up, and then be able to use all the points you earn. Just again, doesn't cost you anything, but just by using the app for your content of the Cowboys, you'll be able to use that to get entries in to win the Dak Prescott jersey. They also have, I'm telling you, if you guys need tickets for games, they have the fees, no fees and all that shit that you get with SeatGeek and stuff like that. They have tickets available with no fees. So definitely check that out. The QR code's there. You can download it. You can go to cowboyscave.com and download it there. All you got to do is, as soon as you go on the header page, I've got a link. Click that. It'll take you right to the app. Download it. Reference Mike Tag. It's awesome. And definitely check it out. And then Hurricane kind of destroyed us a little bit, but we did it. We were going to have our giveaway Wednesday. We're going to do it this Wednesday. It's a Bob Lilly, Tom Landry signed Funko Pop. It's full of all his inscriptions. Anyone, if you're a loyal Cowboy fan, if you don't know who Bob Lilly is, you need to do some research. He's one of the greatest Cowboys of all time, Mr. Cowboy, as he's known. And we're going to be giving that away. So make sure you just got to be live with us on Wednesday. We'll be giving that away, and it'll just be whoever's on says they want to be in. If it's 30 of you, 100 of you, 150, whatever it is, we're going to throw you in a little spinning thing, and we'll go ahead and get that out to someone, and I'll mail it out that week. So definitely tune in Wednesday live for that. So the state of the NFC East. So here we go. We've got the Commanders that, maybe I'm going to eat my words. I said I'm not worried about them yet, but they've looked good. They look, that was an impressive win last week. They're playing the Ravens today, so let's see how that goes. The Eagles, who have just been, struggling, they just haven't been able to get into their kind of rhythm. I mean, they had their big signing they were all excited about, with Devin White, the linebacker for the Bucs. Now he never even played a snap. They released him. I think they get the receivers back so they can get healthy and see what happens. They're playing a Cleveland team that quit last week. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. They quit right in the middle of the game. And the Giants have been scrappy. So looking at this NFC East, how do you guys, and how do you feel about it, Greg? And how do you guys in the chat feel about the state of the NFC East right now?
Right now, I have to say, right now, the Eagles are irrelevant. They have too many locker room issues, coach player issues, Hurts, Sirianni issues. They're imploding. The Eagles are imploding. They're getting desperate. They're going crazy. They think they were supposed to be that same team like when they took them to the Super Bowl for the next year and the year after. Right now, they're imploding. They're self-destructing. The Giants are quietly creeping. They went into the Seattle, and I expected Seattle to beat them. They played one hell of a game against Seattle. They're either quietly creeping up, or they just happened to be lucky and had a good game. The Commanders,
that was without Neighbors too.
Yeah, the Commanders. The great thing about the Commanders is they're playing and having fun. They're playing with confidence. Daniels, first time in the league. Daniels is not afraid of anything because he hasn't been used to playing in this league yet. he doesn't know what there is to be afraid of. Daniels is playing so confident, and the players see that in Daniels, that they're going out having fun and having a good game and playing. And Daniels is commanding the team. He's commanding the plays over their offensive coordinator and saying when we need to go. And those plays where the Commanders normally would have been conservative on 3rd or 4th down, Daniels is staying on the field, and he's not begging. He's just, no, we're going. Period. We're going to do this. And he's executing. So the Commanders are going to be somebody to really look out for. The Giants, I can see the Giants putting it on Philly twice. I can see the Giants beating Philly twice. But
Wow.
I don't think the Giants are strong enough to outman us or the Commanders. So right now, Philly is irrelevant. And any Philly fans out there, there's no disrespect. You know it yourself. You guys are imploding. Right now, y'all don't have an identity. And all y'all trying to do is blame Hurts. But it's your coach. If your coach makes it through this season, I will be shocked.
Yeah, but if they were to somehow stumble against Cleveland, I think he'd be fired Monday.
Yeah, but the Commanders, they got a test today. We're gonna see who the Commanders really are today.
They haven't played anyone of significance, and it's early. So I mean, people argue they say that about the Cowboys. Hey, they won. I mean, that's why I'm not discrediting anything Washington's done. They've won. Their defense has been suspect. Daniels has been playing well, but like my man Ultra said, you start getting more tape on them, on the quarterback, see how he does that last half of the year. And the Cowboys don't play him till later. We don't play him till week 12 and week 18. So we're going to kind of know what they're about by then. It's by 12 weeks you're going to know which team is good and which team is bad. So it'll be figured out. But I think I said it was going to come down to Dallas and Philly. I agree with you. I think Philly they just have a lot of internal issues. I mean, they've got the talent. They probably are as talented as any team in the NFC East, right? Yep. I mean, or even more talented, you could argue, but they're not getting the most out of their talent. And I would say, I said this 100 times, they miss on a lot of their drafts. They give their GM a lot of credit, but they don't draft well. They haven't drafted well, and they miss a lot on the draft. And the other thing is, a lot of people, and we give them credit, right? Hey, man, they're signing free agents and they're doing this. Right. And then we kill the Cowboys. Oh, the Cowboys aren't signing this guy. They're not signing that guy. It's got to work. I mean, and so the Cowboys, if you look at some of the Cowboys signings recently, they've worked. I mean, last year, Gilmore was so important, right? Yeah. On the team. Brandon Cooks was important on the team. And then you look at this year, they got Kendricks. He's been important. They've got some of the other defensive tackles. I mean, we've needed them, right? So we could kill Jerry. I know we want to fire Jerry as a GM, which I know won't happen. But, I mean, there's all this, buildup of all of that. But at the end of the day, the team is talented. The Cowboys have a talented team. I've always said if there's anything that I would give Jerry kind of not blame, but hold over his shoulder is it's the culture of accountability. Like, something as simple as flying your helicopter in, during practice that catches all the media attention, going on the radio and telling everyone who's going to start and who's not, and who's playing. And that's a coach's job when he does his press conference. I mean, that's the only part, like with Jerry, that gets me upset. But as far as assembling talent, this Cowboys team is talented, and they've been talented for a long time. They just haven't gotten the results from it. So, it's going to be interesting to see how this year, because I think it's going to be a battle. I think the NFC East is going to be we play Washington week 18. It could very well come down to week 18, winner take all.
Yeah, and the thing that really gets me when we're looking at how Jerry acquires talent, it's one thing to acquire talent, but it's another thing to enhance that talent during the season. Philly, the thing what Philly did was they went all in 2 years ago, which was brilliant, to help get them to the Super Bowl. But after that, they lost Fletcher Cox, huge. And then instead of continuing with that same mold, the next year and plugging and playing during the season with free agents or whatever. They didn't. They stuck with what they had. And then all of a sudden, the first match that was lit in that forest fire was the wide receiver Brown. And when he lit that match, all hell broke loose. And when he lit the match, at the same time, they're not plugging and playing players during the season from other teams to continue that success. All of a sudden, they lose a game they ain't supposed to lose. They weren't supposed to lose. And now other players are starting to join that forest fire.
Yeah.
Then Sirianni, who's immature, doesn't know how to handle that, and gets at the mic and starts running his mouth off the wrong way. And next thing you know, him and Hurts are at it, and now the entire forest is on fire.
Yeah.
Where the only difference in what we did was, as far as acquiring players, that was great. But what we didn't do last year, and especially this year, was get a plug-and-play player here and there. I'm telling you, you don't even have to know anything about the NFL as much around the world to know that if Jerry Jones took one player, that people on the moon, the people stuck up in that damn spaceship that ain't coming back to February, even they know if Jerry had taken one player, the difference in our game and what we build today would be prophetic. And that one player was Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
That's why of all seasons where he's done something to sabotage us, this season burns me the most, because every single time I watch Derrick Henry run that ball with the Ravens, every single time I watch a show where they talk about Derrick Henry, it just burns my ass that we didn't go out there and get him, because that one man would have made a difference on our team this year that was so far incomprehensible that nobody could believe it. It would have been almost like the Jimmy Johnson trade, except the effects afterwards would have been that huge.
Yeah.
And that's what kills me, because we shouldn't even be in a discussion about whether we're going to have a great team or not this year if we just got that one guy who we'll never be able to get now.
No.
And because of him, that's why Washington has the edge on us. Their defense may not be that good, but their defense plays enough to keep the game close so Daniels can exploit them. And long as McLaughlin is still that wide receiver, people forgot about him last year because they didn't have anybody to throw to him.
Oh, McLaren?
Now, he's the premium receiver again.
Yeah.
He's the premium receiver. So, and this is critical. They're healthy. They are healthy. They're not injured. They are healthy.
That plays a big, that plays a big part, but I mean, you don't want anything to happen, but it could change. I would just say to my man Calvin, I'm going to respectfully disagree. You had 9 All-Pro, not Pro Bowl, forget Pro Bowlers. You had 9 All-Pros on the Cowboys last year. That's, ain't many teams get that. This team has been talented for almost 2 decades now. Yeah. I mean, they've been talented. They've had teams that have been talented enough to get to a Super Bowl. They haven't gotten done. That's to me, it's always on the players. I know some people want to get on the owners, and they want to get on the coaches. And it starts and ends with the players. I mean, the players can win in spite of the distraction that Jerry brings. The players can win in spite of certain things, and they just haven't been able to get it done. But like I said, with this team, I think they're going to be more battle tested. You see it, right? You see this team battle. The same thing I use the examples of my Miami Hurricanes. You fly out to California. Oh, we're not playing a great team. You fly out 5,110 miles, whatever it was, and they have you playing 10 at night, your time, Eastern time. Anyone who travels knows your body don't get adjusted that quickly. The game ended at about 2 a.m. our time. That's not, I mean, you're talking about 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. That ain't easy. I mean, that ain't easy. So I'm just saying but they showed a lot of grit and a lot of no quit, falling down, and everything goes bad. That's a game they come back later down the year, and if they're down in the playoffs or they're down against Clemson in the ACC title game or something like that, that's a game they look back to and say, you know what, guys, hey, we ain't out of it. We were down 35-10. You remember that? We came back. We're down there in the third quarter. And I think for the Cowboys, that drive is something that they can go back to and they say, hey, we were depleted against Pittsburgh. We had to go up in Pittsburgh. No one thought we were going to win. I saw all the experts' picks, and no one thinks we're going to win today. So they can build off it from there. That's what they've got to kind of, use that game to build off of. But I think it's going to be a dogfight in this division, and I want it that way.
Yeah.
The Cowboys have been 12-5, 12-5, 12-5, easy playoff, No, let's fight, man. Let's fight. They're undefeated on the road, so maybe they're better off to go on the road this year. We'll see.
Yeah, and Jeff, I see you, Jeff. Jeff, you're right. We need more turnovers because last year we were able to successfully get a lot more turnovers. Obviously, Bland was in the game, and Bland makes a difference. And when Bland's in the game and these quarterbacks are afraid to throw over there because Bland is picking them off, then other people get to eat. And then Stephon Gilmore had his share last year too, and he's no longer with us, and he's doing a good job over in Minnesota. But we need more turnovers. We most definitely need more turnovers. If we can push and get more turnovers, when you're playing a team like Detroit, those are difference makers. You have to somehow get the ball out of their hands to eliminate their drive or stop them. And if we can do that through turnovers, it'll make a difference as long as our offense, scores on those turnovers and puts that money in the bank. But turnovers are going to be key because we don't have that piranha of a cornerback that knows how to jump those plays. And I'm telling you, there were some plays Fields threw that Duron would have easily jumped. But Jay Lou, he was being careful, which was smart on his behalf. He knew he wasn't a Duron Bland. He didn't want to jump him and all of a sudden miss it, and it makes a difference in the game, and we lose. So Jay Lou did what he had to do, but he contained them once they got the ball. Yeah. But we get some turnovers, no matter how we get them, and especially if we pressure Goff, he'll throw that ball. We get turnovers, it'll make a dramatic difference in this game. And I would love to see them panic because once Detroit panics, that's when Jeff's going to start throwing the ball, and it's going to look like everybody's got a chance to feast. So we got an opportunity to do something real special today and show that last week that everybody actually came together. We just have to make sure that everybody's on cylinders. Offensive line, think about it. Dak doesn't go 75, 80 yards last week without a good offensive line. Offensive line stepped up and did their job in spite of the ones that had to come out. And they got us down there, but they never get credit. So if the offensive line stays the way they were last week, we're going to be good. I'm telling you, we're going to be good.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. It's getting about that time, prediction time. I want to hear what you guys have to say. And you can say the Cowboys are going to lose. It's fine. Kelly thought we were going to lose last week. He said it. And I know he was doing reverse psychology, so we let Kelly slide with that. But, hey, the Cowboys got their hands full. I mean, they're depleted, especially defensively. It's going to be a lot asked of Dak and CD. But, it's like I say, superstars got to be superstars in these big games. And, they're paid a premium. You want them to hold their up end of the bargain. And sometimes they got to carry more water. It's just the way it is. We need our superstars to be superstars. Like my man Santana Moss always said, big players step up, make big plays in big games. And that's what we need. Another one. So no dogfight. Cowboys 31-14. Wow. I hope you're right. I don't know if you're right, but and then we got my man Carl. No surprise. 28-13 Detroit. I will defer to you, my man Bobby. I love the Eagles. The Eagles are they know they're circling the drain. They got a lot of problems, but we'll see. 31-28. Greg, give me your thoughts on the game. You and I were pretty damn close with the Steeler one. What are you thinking for this one?
Well, you nailed it with that 20-17. I said 27-17. First of all, let me give a shout out to Shan Loves Cowboys. because I seen her in the cave on the chats. I hadn't seen her before. I guess I don't know if this is her first time. If this is your first time, subscribe and join the cave, because this is where you want to be. I'm looking at both teams are going to get in the 30s. I really feel like both teams get in the 30s. But the best scenario would be a 37-27. 37-27 Cowboys. 37-27 Cowboys. I'm looking for that because I'm expecting the offense to go the hell off and have fun going into this bye. 37-27. Let's do it.
That's pretty, we're close, but Chris and I are very, very close in our prediction. I've got a high scoring game. I've got Dallas 34 and the Lions 32. I just think it's going to be, and that's an odd score, but I think it's going to be an odd game. I think it's going to be a shootout. Something's going to happen with the Lions, either going for two or something's going to happen where they're going to get extra. But I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be back and forth. I think it's going to be a shootout. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Dak, on CD, on Ferguson, this whole offense to be able to stay ahead. I think the Cowboys they're going to fall down a little early, and I think they'll kind of jump ahead, and they're going to either last-minute drive on the offense. I think hopefully that's the case. I don't want it to be where the Lions have the ball last, but I think whoever has the ball last is going to win the game on a game-winning drive. So I'm hoping and I'm predicting it's going to be our Cowboys. But we will see. It may end up being a, Aubrey game-winning field goal to make it 34-32, or our defense holds them. But it's going to be interesting, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We got a bold prediction. Liefeld getting an interception and 2 sacks with Kendricks out. We didn't talk about Overshown. We didn't talk about Liefeld. We didn't talk about some of these linebackers that are really going to have to step up, because Kendricks has been kind of the general. Right, he calls the plays, he knows the defense. He was with Zimmer. Do you think, before we head out, do you think that could be something that could end up hurting them?
Well,
feeling that?
You mean hurting us?
Yeah, like not having Kendricks in there for calling, his leadership and knowing the defense. Is that something where we can get ourselves in trouble on a play alignment, or do you think we'll be okay?
They're going to test us because Kendricks has established himself. Kendricks is one of the he's premier on our defense, and with him being out, but they're elevating Darius Harris. And Darius, I think he played with the Chiefs before or something like that. But Darius Harris, if he's playing today, he could be the one that steps in. Like last week, those all defensive linemen stepped in and held their own. He could be the one that steps in and helps create turnovers. And like I was telling Jeff, like Jeff was saying, we need turnovers. And I consider a turnover today, because if you know Jan Campbell, he loves to go on 4th down. He loves to gamble, and he's not changing that MO. So if he goes on 4th downs in critical situations on their side of the field and they don't get it, as far as I'm concerned, that's a turnover. And I'm going to be counting that as a turnover. But Liefeld, this is his game to step up. He's got nobody to look at behind him to go in. He's got to step up. And if Darius Harris is out there with him, maybe that'll give him a little bit more of a security blanket. But I don't know if Darius Harris is going to start, and I sure hope they don't try to bring Jay Lou up to fill in that linebacker position every now and then.
I think they would. If anything, he would use 2 line. I think he'd just go with Overshown and go with
Damone Clark,
and then maybe put Wilson. Creep him up if you need to a little bit. One of their big. He's a hard hitter. Something like that, maybe. But it's going to hurt. We saw what happened with linebackers when we lost, a lot of our linebackers. It hurt last season. I'm hoping they can just hold it down one more time. And Ultra brought up a great point. Yeah, you got Clark. Clark, he may get an opportunity. He's got to step up. His time's running out. But Ultra said something about Mike McCarthy, and I think it is always overlooked what he's done with injuries. When Dak went out, they held it down. They're holding it down. Even like if they drop this game, it's still pretty damn impressive. They held it down with some of the injuries that they've had on defense, that they've been able to, because I said, just hover around 500 till everyone comes back, and then you're going to be okay. And so Mike McCarthy gets a lot of hate for whatever reason. I know, It's just it's you know, it's in the nature, and I get it.
Nature.
But I always liked him as a coach, and I think he's done a great job. He doesn't get into like you look at him. Would you rather have him or would you ever have like Sirianni? I mean, you know, it's like Sirianni's just created a cancer within their locker room, and I just don't get it. I don't get his whole MO and what he's doing and you know, his whole position of it. But I like McCarthy. He's football. He doesn't get involved in all the bullshit, all the stuff Jerry wants to do. He can deflect all that. He don't think about it. He don't care. He just focused on the football team. And I think the players play for him. That was evident in that Ravens game. I mean, we were getting our ass whooped. It should have been 40-0. I mean, it should have just been a blowout, but that team battled back. And that could be one of those turning points you talked about, is they didn't quit. And the team has looked different since that second half into now. They've looked a lot different, and the mentality's different, and things get better. So I hope that the Cowboys can just push it out one more time. So
one more time. and for one, and if not for one stop by the defense on the Ravens, when we had 3 opportunities at the end of the game when the time around, if one stop, Brandon Aubrey wins that game, or either ties it. But
it's just my man Carl. Sirianni didn't win shit. What am I missing? Didn't you guys win with the dude down in Jacksonville and you threw him out? I mean, what the hell are you talking about? But I know exactly what it is to win. So I've seen 3. I'll say it one more time for you, Carl. Get that wax out of your ear. I've seen 3. You've seen 1. If I got to go to the upper room tomorrow, I saw 3. You saw 1. I'm better, and scoreboard is all that matters. And I was able to see a bunch of McCain's too. So I can't complain. Life is good for me. What am I gonna say? What am I gonna say? Greg, you're even better than me. You see 10. You see 5 Canes, 5 Cowboys. You've seen it all, my friend. So
and Carl, I've seen all the Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl wins, and none of our coaches ever threw other coaches under the bus.
No.
And it took y'all. Let me see now. Philadelphia's been in there 60 years, going on 61, 62 years. And they got 1 Super Bowl.
One Super Bowl.
Typically, when people's closets are dirty, what do? They concentrate on other people's closets because they don't want to spend the time to go clean out their own dirty closet. Yeah. So that's why you can concentrate on the Cowboys. You can talk about the Cowboys until the lights fall out. But if you're a Philly fan, you ain't even tapping the surface of irritating us. Y'all got nothing on us. I mean, you lost more Super Bowls than you won. You got 1 finally, and then one of your fans go out there and eat horse shit in the middle of the street. That showed you how desperate y'all were.
Very desperate. They're very desperate.
One. And then you talk about the Cowboys over and over. So I suggest you go back to Sirianni, go to Hurts, y'all go clean that closet out, help y'all catch up. Because like I always say, got 5? If you don't, until you do, don't holler at me.
Yeah, no, that's just the way it is. I mean, catch up to Washington. Catch up to Washington first, and then kind of work yourself up the list.
I can't wait till they play.
But hey, guys, you have a great football Sunday. It's almost about that time. I'm going to give me some lunch, go get something to eat, get ready. And you guys I love all the people hanging out in the cave. Make sure, again, hit that like, hit the subscribe, hit the share on your way out if you haven't already. Make sure you check out the Autograph app. Get an opportunity to win a Dak Prescott signed jersey. See you Wednesday. Our live show will be giving away our Bob Lilly. We also got to do our cut for Defender of the Star for all the people that were at our tailgate. So we got making up to do. These Hurricanes, not my Miami Hurricane, but the Hurricanes hitting Florida kind of messed up all our stuff. So I got to get back to the business at hand and get back to the grind. But definitely appreciate everybody, and may pop in after the game if I get bored, especially if it's a good win. I may pop in after the game. You guys just check it out. We appreciate it, and thank you guys so much. Enjoy your Sunday. Go Cowboys. Greg, I'll let you have the last word.
Hey, Ultra got me laughing. Ultra says, imagine living in the city where their hero is a fictional character.
Oh, Rocky. And I love Rocky.
Good one, Ultra. And yeah, Frank, I ain't spent a lot of time on here on Carl. Carl, I love you. because I love everybody and I like to have that bantering back and forth. But
it's
you're
all
right,
in
Frank,
fun.
I ain't spending much time on them. But,
yeah.
but let me tell you something. Cowboys Nation, y'all get ready this afternoon. As usual, I want y'all to suit up. I want you to gear up. I want you to drink up and eat up. It's going to be a fantastic game today. It's going to be exactly what we expect going into the bye. We're going to beat the Lions. It's going to be close, but we're going to beat the Lions, and we're going to go into a bye. We're going to rest our players, come back with the whole team, almost the whole team after the bye, and we're going to be ready to go. And we're wearing the navy blue. What we beat them in last time, we're going to do it again. So suit up, boot up, get ready, gear up. Cowboys Nation, we're going to do it. Tell everybody in Cowboys Nation, you either get with us or you get the hell off the bandwagon. How about them Cowboys?
Let's go.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.